Hey there! Just before I start this video, I'd like to say that I will be releasing another question and answer session this weekend, hopefully. I wasn't able to release one last weekend because I spent the whole of that week in the lab and therefore didn't really have time to sit down to actually write down the answers to some of the questions that people have been asking me. But rest assured, I have looked at all of them and have started to come up with answers to some of them. The purpose of this video, however, is something entirely different to what I normally do, and it's in regards to Eating Disorders Awareness Week 2013. For Eating Disorders Awareness Week, a friend of mine on YouTube has come up with an idea to make a collaboration video. And this requires the input of people who have eating disorders or have had an eating disorder. And this includes the whole spectrum of eating disorders. So that includes anorexia, bulimia, obesity, anything that, involves eating disorders. Please, we really like your input. And this input is required in the form of a video. It can be done the way I'm doing it now, face to face with a camera, or to write down things on a piece of paper that I'm going to talk to you about in a second, put it in front of the camera, and if you could say what's written on the piece of paper, that'd be really helpful. If you don't want to say what's written on the paper and just put it in front of the camera, that's also fine. We can use that as well. And the video needs to be maybe 20-30 seconds long. So yeah, keep it short, keep it to the point, and we can use it a lot better that way. And it needs to consist of the following things. The first thing is, if you don't want to be anonymous, please state your name. If you want to remain anonymous, that's fine. You don't need to say your name, and you can just move on to the next part. The next part is that I'd like you to say that you have an eating disorder or you have had an eating disorder and state what it is. Also, because I'm trying to raise awareness of males with eating disorders, please also state that you are a male in that line. The next thing that I'd like you to say is to summarize what it's like to have an eating disorder in one, maybe two sentences. So if you currently have an eating disorder, sort of say how it's affecting your life and, what it's like to fight your eating disorder. If you have had an eating disorder, sort of summarize the journey that you went through and also what it was like at the time when you had that eating disorder. Because, if you have had an eating disorder, the story's a lot longer. You can probably summarize it in maybe 3 sentences. The next thing that I'd like you to say is to state something that kept you positive whilst you've been in treatment, or something that has kept you in a positive mindset to be able to fight your eating disorder. If you have had an eating disorder, you probably have a number of things that kept you positive, so state them all. We can use all of them. The next thing that I'd like you to say is to put a high note onto this video by saying eating disorders can be beaten, but put it in your own words and put a lot of oomph into it. By all means, say something that really means something to you, because that way the variety of this statement will be a lot higher and it will make the video a lot better. The last thing that I'd like you to say is to say the following words. Be aware of people with eating disorders. This is because Eating Disorders Awareness Week isn't just about people with eating disorders, but it's also about raising awareness that eating disorders do exist in the general population, and we need to let the public know that eating disorders do exist. So yeah, if you could send a video to the email address which I'm supplying below, that would be really helpful, and hopefully we can release a video maybe 1-2 weeks away. So yeah, I'll be releasing another video question and answer session this weekend. I look forward to seeing you then, and have a good week.